No DQ Galaxy, we are live with a recap of AEW Dynamite for September 4th, 2024. We have another pay-per-view coming up from AEW. We have All Out this coming Sunday night, or is it Saturday? I believe it's Saturday. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's Saturday this time. Sometimes it's Sunday, sometimes it's Saturday, but it is this weekend, AEW All Out. We kicked off the show with Danny Garcia coming to the ring, and he straight up called out MJF. Now, MJF did not appear on the stage, but rather MJF was in the stands having a drink. He said that he wanted to wait until the pay-per-view. He wants to make sure that Danny Garcia doesn't have any excuses. Now, Danny responded by saying everything about MJF is fake and a lie, including MJF's trip to Turkey for hair transplants. Danny said that MJF has a fake love for AEW, and he wants MJF to suffer this weekend at AEW All Out. MJF responded, said that Danny Garcia still has more to learn. MJF brought up how the people turned on him, and the fickle bastards will do the same thing to Daniel Garcia. MJF said he's going to make sure the fans don't hurt Danny the way they hurt him. MJF's going to do this by putting Danny in a wheelchair. And then Danny will be at home in his mom's bed, and he will not be the first man on his back in his mom's bed. Garcia, of course, did not appreciate this mother comment, so he left the ring. He went out into the crowd after MJF, but security stopped him. He was able to blow past the security. But then as he got to MJF hit him. I'm not sure if it was a glass or a bottle, but it was one of the two. Glass everywhere, probably real glass since it's AEW. And then MJF said that Danny has woken up something in him. He thanked Danny for doing that. And then MJF said that he will send Danny straight to paradise at All Out. And Danny can thank him later. Garcia was all busted open, and MJF stood tall here in this segment to open up Dynamite. It was a good segment. It does add some more intrigue to the match, in my opinion, which we will talk about when we do our predictions for All Out. Predictions will be Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. But I did like the segment to kick off the show. And we had a backstage promo with Mark Briscoe and the conglomeration, or in other words, a group of guys, you got nothing else better to do with them. You just throw them in a faction. They had a little promo. Will Ospreay was there with them. And then we had our first match of the evening, a Continental Championship match. We had Okada defending his title against apparent number one contender, Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher lost last week on Dynamite to Ricochet. Ricochet was not on this show, by the way. No Ricochet. Kyle Fletcher lost, but people pointed out to me, Kyle Fletcher won a very important match on Collision against Ishii, the same Ishii who has never won a singles match in AEW to my knowledge. Maybe he won one or two, and he wins the occasional 6-man tag team match on Collision or Rampage, But as far as singles matches go, Ishii never wins. And I guess Kyle Fletcher beating Ishii gave him a Continental title opportunity. Okay. And then there's the argument, well, these two are going to have a banger. That's why the match was booked. Well, Okada should be dominating the lower card guys. Okada is supposedly one of the biggest wrestling stars in the world. Why is he having a competitive match with a guy that could not even beat Ricochet? Come on now. Match was pretty good. I wouldn't say it was a banger, but it was a good match. Very predictable. I mean, come on. Kyle Fletcher has no chance here against Okada, yet we get like 2 commercial breaks for this match. So it's back and forth. Okada does his usual routine where he flips off the fans instead of doing the Rainmaker pose. Fletcher did get in a couple big moves. He had a brain buster to Okada on the floor, but could not capitalize on it. And then he gave Okada a brain buster on the barricade. He dove over the barricade onto Okada, got him back into the ring. And then Okada was able to avoid a tombstone. He had a lariat, a second one, went for the Rainmaker, but Fletcher was able to avoid it. However, he could not finish off Okada. And then Okada, I guess, feeling desperate against Kyle Fletcher, had to give him a low blow while the referee was distracted. And then he hit the Rainmaker and got the victory. Okada should have won this in 2 minutes. Kyle Fletcher is a prelim guy, no matter how much TV time he gets at this point. He's prelim. This would be the equivalent to Heath Slater in 2014 going toe-to-toe with John Cena in a 20-minute match. Just isn't necessary. Okada's your big star, and if you're going to have Fletcher get a title opportunity, then Fletcher needs to win matches on Dynamite and not be losing to Ricochet 1 week before getting this title opportunity. Just my opinion. This is one of the problems with AEW. I'm being straight up. Like, why is attendance down? Why are they struggling? They need to make stars. And even though Okada is a star to your diehard wrestling fans, he's not a star to anybody else. That's one of their problems right now. They need to build up their stars as larger-than-life figures. Okada should not be in 15 to 20-minute competitive matches with guys that are very low on the totem pole, even if they are good wrestlers. Just my opinion. Why is AEW struggling? I think this is one of the reasons why. Anyways, that's my take on that. I know some people will disagree. They just want to watch wrestling. I'm starting to sound like Virtue. I hate to say it, but it's true. As far as I'm concerned, at least. I'm just giving my own best rational reason as to why AEW is struggling to keep their audience. So we had a video shown of Swerve Strickland, and this was posted on social media earlier in the day, where Swerve bought back his childhood home. It was foreclosed when he was a kid. He signed a new contract with AEW, and he used that money to buy back the house. Now, I thought this sounded cool, but also the fact that they showed this on TV, I was wondering, well, wait a minute. We got this match coming up with Hangman Page, and Swerve broke into Page's house last year. So is this some sort of an angle? More on that in just a little bit. We had Jamie Hayter versus Robin Renegade in a squash match. And this is really what Okada and Kyle Fletcher should have been. Jamie Hayter picks up an easy win. Saraya was watching backstage. They're setting that up. This was fine. Give Jamie Hayter a win. No issues here. Then we had Hook backstage challenging Strong, was giving Strong an opportunity for the FTW title, but Strong said he was not going to do it in Milwaukee. He's going to call his shot at his convenience when he feels like it. I mean, FTW title, like, why would Strong care about this title to begin with? So I don't blame him. He should go for the FTW title whenever, not even go for it at all. Like, why even bother? He should be going for something better, right? FTW title's still a thing. I'm over it. But, I mean, is Hook just going to be FTW champion for life? Is that his gimmick where he's just going to indefinitely defend the FTW title? Like, if you're going to try to push the guy and make him a star, this is not the way to do it, in my opinion. But what do I know? And speaking of what I don't know or who I don't know Marina Shafir. She's backstage. She's beating up people just randomly. What is she, the female version of Lance Archer, where she just goes around beating up random people? It's kind of stupid, in my opinion. She's beating up people. Her and Jon Moxley walk over by the Elite, and Moxley says Jack Perry is a sweet kid. I don't know what's going on here, what the point of this was. But then Jon Moxley comes to the ring with Shafir, and he cuts a promo. And by the way, I know Shafir has an MMA background, but she looks so unintimidating when she's constantly having to fix her hair, like, you know, tie it up or something. But every time she's like brushing her hair back, it just looks very amateurish, in my opinion. Anyways, and not badass like either. So Moxley is saying he wants to talk to Darby Allin. He praised Darby Allin and said he just wants to talk to Darby, and then he left. No Darby again, even though Moxley called him out last week. Darby's taking a break. I don't know what the hell is going on. But yeah, not much of a follow-up from last week. We don't know Marina Shafir, and we don't know where this is going. And I'm on the verge of not caring. I don't know if I care or not about this. What is Jon Moxley's motivation here? And they need to get to the point soon, because I'm very quickly losing interest. We had Chris Jericho backstage. He's still upset that Orange Cassidy ruined his $7,000 jacket from 4 years ago during the pandemic. And then Orange Cassidy showed up, told Brian Keith, he didn't talk to Jericho, he talked to Brian Keith, said if Brian Keith can beat him on Collision or Rampage, one of those shows, he'll give Jericho back the $7,000. Well, I don't think Jericho's getting that money back, but who knows? We had Mariah May versus Nyla Rose for the Women's Championship, which I guess this is a fine booking because Nyla Rose is a former women's champion. Mariah May was slapping around Nia, and Nyla did not appreciate it. Did I say Nia? Nyla Rose, not Nia Rose. There you go. There's a tag team one day. Nia and Nyla, if they're ever in the same promotion. So it was a back and forth competitive match. Nyla Rose, I mean, at this point, her job is to just put over other people. She had her little run at the beginning of AEW, but she hasn't done a whole lot since. And she's basically there as enhancement talent. Mariah May with a little bit of a deceptive maneuver where she acted like she was hurt, and then she took a cheap shot. And then Nyla Rose barely beat the 10 count to get back into the ring. I mentioned this on social media. I just want to see somebody not beat the 10 count. I never care about this spot because everybody always beats the 10 count in these matches. And I'm so underwhelmed by it. It's like, duh, they always beat the 10 count. I need to see somebody not beat the 10 count, so then it's planted in my brain that, hey, maybe they might not make it back in 10, but they always do. So I never care. Anyways, Nyla got back in. Storm Zero immediately got the win. And yeah, no surprise here. Mariah May picks up the victory. We had a Deonna Purrazzo video package, which kind of feels like a waste of time because she's facing Hikaru Shida on Friday at Collision. Special show. It's going up against SmackDown. Probably not going to do too well. Shida has a title match coming up against Mercedes Mone. So it's like you're airing a video package hyping up Deonna Purrazzo, who's just going to lose to Shida on Friday. What's the point? We then had Mercedes Mone come to the ring for a promo. She was with Camille, and she was bragging about how she's the face of the company, said there's going to be a price to pay when you mess with Monet. Not sure if that is going to catch on as a catchphrase. We'll see about that. And then we had an interruption from Shida, who was on the big screen. Shida was wearing Solo Sikoa's red outfit, although I know it was the Weeknd's outfit. Solo Sikoa was ripping off the Weeknd, and now Shida has the same outfit that Solo has that's ripping off the Weeknd. So Shida's there cutting this promo. And then Christopher Daniels came in and revealed that Camille will be banned from ringside at All Out. And Shida said, "Sayonara, bitch." I could have sworn that was Okada's catchphrase, but now I guess it's Shida's catchphrase as well. This didn't really do too much for me. I mean, we know Mercedes winning. Give her another W. Should be a good match, though. We then had a backstage promo from Jack Perry. He brought up how he was in the ring when Bryan Danielson debuted 3 years ago. And he said that Bryan didn't do anything for Perry when Perry was out of the company for a while. He said there's not going to be a happy ending this weekend at All Out, which I think that there's pretty much no chance in hell that Jack Perry's winning that title at All Out. And that's a world title match. We had Bryan Danielson, the world champion, come out for commentary for Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio, Wheeler, and not sure if Pac's officially a member or not. I guess not, but he might as well should be at this point, especially if Moxley's doing his own thing. So they're the trios champions going up against Kyle O'Reilly, Orange Cassidy, and Will Ospreay. Trios match. There were holy shit chants when Ospreay and Pac were going at it. And then we had a couple of commercial breaks and things started to break down and they were brawling by the stage. Ospreay ended up jumping off the stage onto Pac, and that eliminated them from the match. They were out of it. And back in the ring, Orange Cassidy hit the beach break to Claudio, but Claudio kicked out. And then Kyle O'Reilly applied the guillotine submission to Claudio, but Claudio powered out. And then Claudio did the giant swing. Wheeler Yuta hit the drop kick, and then Claudio pinned Kyle O'Reilly. So the trios champions pick up a victory here. Ospreay was out of the equation. Good match. Good six-man match here. Afterwards, Bryan Danielson came into the ring for the celebration. But then we had the Blackpool Combat Club, the Elite coming into the ring to try and attack Bryan, but Blackpool Combat Club fought them off, got them out of the ring. Jack Perry got pulled to safety, and then Claudio and Yuta officially challenged the Young Bucks to a tag team title match. There you go. Tag team title match added to the card. I have a a pretty strong idea of who's winning that one. But again, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, we'll be doing our predictions for the match. And Andrew, I don't know who was supposed to be the faces or heels. I guess both teams were baby faces. I don't know what the deal is. Obviously, the Bucks are heels, so there you go. And backstage, Pac and Ospreay were still fighting, and then Pac gave Ospreay a brainbuster on one of the production crates to build up a little bit of heat. I guess Pac's going to be the heel for this match, or maybe not. Just a grudge match with two guys for the title. We had our contract signing, which typically is a letter down, but this actually wasn't really a contract signing technically because Adam Page was not there. Swerve was there waiting for the appearance of Page. Page's music played. There was no Page. And as it turns out, he was at Swerve's childhood home. And he had some lighter fluid. So you knew something very dastardly was going to happen. And he sat in a chair. He cut this promo after pouring lighter fluid all over the house. Swerve was all upset, flipping over the table, very distraught. And then Page said he is going to take Swerve's pride and dignity. But in the meantime, it was goodbye to Swerve's house. And sure enough, he set the house on fire, and the fire was spreading across the house in the background as Page just sat there. Poor Swerve was in the ring, all distraught. And that was our big cliffhanger for Dynamite. And I thought it was very entertaining. It was similar to when Randy Orton burned down Bray Wyatt's house back in 2017. But I liked it, considering the history between them. Page breaking into Swerve's house, or Swerve breaking into Page's house a year ago, and now Page is getting his revenge, although he's the heel now. I thought it was a really good ending for the show. This is like the one match that I'm pretty hyped up about for the pay-per-view. Everything else, I could take it or leave it. I think that the opening segment was good and the final segment was good. Those were the most effective segments at building up the pay-per-view. Everything else, you had some good wrestling, but your usual predictable matches and not great build-up in between the opening and closing segment. I give the show a C+. It was decent. Really, the final segment brought it up for me a little bit. I was leaning towards a C for this one. Kind of a mid Dynamite, but I did like the ending segment. Bump it up a little bit. All Out should be a good show, but if it wasn't my job to recap these shows and these pay-per-views, I would not be buying All Out. 100% would not buy it. So anyways, make sure you guys tune in Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We will be doing our predictions for AEW All Out. And it's going to be a fun one. Looking forward to that. Good old JM, Jeff Meacham, will be joining us. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest news and rumors heading into All In. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Take care. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.